After the 1988 riots in the East Village around Tompkins Square Park, the city locked up the park for a full remodel. They wanted to make it accessible so police vehicles could drive in. I remember they reopened the park in, I want to say 1994, 92, maybe 92. Somebody help me here. However, that did not end the tension between the neighborhood, the police, and ultimately the city of New York. I remember quite a few times on Avenue Way, the punk rock kids or the squatter kids would be hanging out, bumming change, drinking beer, and a cop car would roll down Avenue Way and they would all throw their beer bottles at it, and they would scatter, and there'd be a big police presence for a few hours in the neighborhood. And this reminds me of a funny story, and I could be a bit of an ass at times, especially when I was younger. I was walking down St. Mark's between First and A. I was going home, and I had seen a few buildings next to mine. There was a young girl with her parents. It looked like she was moving in, and they all looked super Midwest, maybe Indiana, Ohio, one of those states, I don't know. And as they're slowly moving a box to the stoop, all of a sudden you hear all this whoop, whoop, whoop. And marching in lockstep down St. Mark's were all these riot cops. So apparently the kids were throwing bottles at the cops again. And I remember the mother saying to the father, "Do you think this is a good idea?" And me being me, I walk over and I say, no problem. The neighborhood is safe. I live a few doors down. This only happens maybe once or twice a week. And they just looked at me and their faces were like completely white. Do you guys remember anything like that from early 90s? I know there was another round of riots. I don't quite remember the date, maybe 96, 95 on East 13th Street between B and C. I wrote a bit about all of that and the gentrification of the neighborhood here. You can find a link in my profile.